What's up, everybody? It's Tuesday. Time for macro talk. Got a lot to talk about as usual. How's everybody doing? I have somehow managed to point these lights directly into my eyes again, and yeah, it's a little hard to see, but yeah, I might turn some of them off in just a minute. How's everybody doing? Did you miss me? No, you didn't miss me, because I was here, kind of, wasn't I? Just kind of, though. Let me see. Are we getting any activity? It appears that I am live, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Can anybody see me? Tell me if you can. I will say hi in the meantime to Walter, and he wants me to demonstrate how I would light the eyes of a relatively large insect to emphasize, highlight the omatitidia. Yes, I will show you that in just a little bit. Peter from Edmonton. I believe, Peter, this might be your first visit, is it not? If it is, welcome. Al, ho, you are early. I am early, I mean. You're not, I am. Bruce is still sleeping. Yes, I'm sure he is. It's tomorrow evening over there, I think. All right, so we'll talk about those insect eyes in just a few minutes. Let me make a note. I'm actually going to be showing some pictures that will demonstrate that, so we'll talk about it. Good evening, Bud. How's everything going? And that is also good evening to Walter. All right, so a pair of Walters first in the door tonight, so they get a door prize, I'm sure. Phil, last week you asked if the flower contest was macro, 1-to-1. And the feed dropped just as I was starting to answer, and you want me to answer it again. Well, there's an extra charge for that, for me to repeat an answer, but I'll take a stab at it. No, it's not. It's just close-up. I mean, taking a picture of a rose bush from a mile away, that wouldn't count. I would have a hard time allowing that one. But it doesn't have to be 1-to-1. No, it doesn't at all. You can shoot whatever makes it look good, but it's a close-up contest, of course. So sorry about that. I actually answered it in the written comments after the end of the thing, but I don't think it got transcribed over. Bud is asking some shiny bugs dry dull and then change color. How do you keep them shiny and with the original color when you photograph them? Depends on the bug. There are some that I've found putting a very, very light coating of, glycerin, a dilute glycerin solution on a Q-tip. If you get the Q-tips with the wooden shafts, just the tiniest little bit, like a fraction of a drop on the end of the Q-tip, and wipe it on the external skeleton of the insect. That'll often do it. I've tried it with oil and it didn't do as good a job. It made the thing kind of shiny and reflective and a bit specular and greasy. So yeah, that's what I would try first. If that doesn't work, there's all kinds of other things that we can try. Have you tried Decon 90? It works for everything else, except I don't think it works for travel sickness. I didn't have any with me to try, but yeah, I was sick on the plane. Oh, I was sick of the plane. When did they take the cushions out of the seats in airplanes? And the person who told me that the TSA had changed their responsibilities to be the tranquil serenity agents at the airport was pulling my leg. They still don't take jokes very well, and don't like being called names either. So thanks for that tip. Anyhow, where was I? Laura, talking about Boston. Laura came to Boston to give me a hand and help out, and was hugely helpful. Helped with the video, the stills shooting, and all manner of other necessary jobs. So thank you very much, Laura. You're much appreciated. In fact, this evening I am going to show you a video clip that I put together a minute ago. Well, an hour ago for an hour. That's all I had time to do. And I didn't think I was going to get it finished. And it's not very good, but it will give you an idea of what I was doing last week. So I'll show you that in just a minute. In fact, is it already 8 o'clock? Not quite, not quite. I'll give it another minute before I show that. Hey Gary, glad you're here. And Arctic Penguin from the Seattle area. I hear it's quite nice up there right now. Arthur, and everybody has already said hi to Arthur once, so we'll skip that. Gochi, welcome from Macedonia, which I now know where it is because I checked it out on the map. Glad to have you here. It's north of Greece, right? Somewhere around there. Peter, welcome from Edmonton. I'm early, Bruce is still sleeping, and Claudio, welcome. How are you? Glad to have you with us. Arthur, once again. Arthur, you sneak your name in there in grey, so I don't see it until I've already said it out loud, because I keep saying hi to you. But you've got the message already, right? Okay, where was I? Bud reported that you can see and hear me fine. Good. I worry about it sometimes because I'll be chattering away and realize that there's no signal or I'm not connected. To those of you who bravely came by on Thursday when I did the live stream from the bridge in Cambridge, Massachusetts, the recording studio I was at, thank you for coming and thank you for your patience. I am so sorry. Of all of the things that I thought could possibly go wrong doing a remote broadcast, the last thing that occurred to me was they'd have lousy Wi-Fi at a recording studio. But they did. Terrible. And I just couldn't get a signal. So there you go. It was disappointing. But still, it was fun. If you did stick around, you got to meet my brother anyway, and he dropped into the studio where I was recording to live streaming to say hi. So that was nice. It was very nice of him to do that. That's a lot of work. Recording an album, it really does take every bit of the whole week. Long days too. All right. Hey, Patrick, glad you made it. In fact, seeing Patrick's name reminds me, I haven't made an announcement yet because I've just been too busy since my feet touched the ground back home. I haven't had time to get an announcement out. But we do have a Zoom this weekend, and I will get an announcement out this evening to let everybody know. That is for the Patreon folks. We're going to have a Zoom, and it's going to be at... I'll have to look it up to see if it's in the morning or the afternoon. It's either 8 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I think it's 2 o'clock this time. I'm pretty sure it is, because the last time we did the competition and it was too early for California. Okay, so Zoom Sunday 2 o'clock, and seeing as the whole world has changed again since the last Zoom, we might do a little bit more on the AI thing, because it's getting crazy. It really is. So yeah, tune in for that if you can. And if you're not a member of Patreon, consider joining them. I could really use the help, and you could really use the fun of coming to the Zooms, I think. Hey Jeff, welcome in Idaho. Chris, welcome. Glad you made it. I hope everything's going well. Seabell, you didn't miss much last week. I think Tuesday was okay in the hotel room, but I don't think Thursday was. But thank you for saying that. Claudio, you are a beginner in the macro world. Well, you've come to the right place. I spent the day today working on a big production just for beginners and for people who are getting started, and whether they're photographing insects or flowers or anything at all. And you're coming at just the right time. That's going to be coming out with a new website, which is something else that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. Jim Heaton, living large in Alabama. Well, aren't we all? Really, I suppose you would say. How'd your video on cleaning your camera sensor coming along? Well, it's not coming along because I haven't done it yet. I mean, once I make it, it'll come along quite quickly because I'll just then show it to you. But I haven't had a chance. I really haven't had a chance. I was gone all week last week, and I'm now catching up. So I'll put it on the list. I might do that. You know what? Let me think about it. I'll get something done right away, as soon as I can. Promise. Scouts honor, and I was booted out of the Scouts a long time ago, so you can ignore that. Gilles, welcome. Bruce, good morning. Welcome. Glad you made it. And Alistair, Toluca, welcome. Oh boy, everybody's here tonight. The whole shooting match. Patrick, glad you made it. How's Switzerland? Gorgeous, as always, probably. And John from Northern Ireland, another gorgeous country. Hey, Angie, are you getting all ready for the competition next month? We're doing a decomposition this month. I thought it would get everybody in the mood for some flowers next month. So yeah, that's it. If you aren't thinking about flowers and taking pictures of flowers or practicing your stereo, you need to. You need to maximize your chances of winning this thing, because there are lenses on the line. More lenses have been donated. Seriously. And yeah, they're going to be on the chopping block. I said something during the live stream last week that I'm going to correct. I said something to the effect of, you know, there weren't many entries for the body parts competition, and I was reconsidering awarding the prize that I had announced. Well, that's nonsense. I can't do that. That's against the rules. It's against my rules. I'm not going to do that. So please, I can't remember who won. I've got it written down though. I'll tell you in a minute when it comes to me. But the winner will get the lens that was promised and was given by Mr. Robert Wester. And I haven't talked to Robert about it, but I have a feeling he would insist on it going to the legitimate winner of the competition. And so it should. I don't know. It must have been, I was up 4 stories in the air in Boston, and there's very little oxygen up there. And I think that was what it was. That's what we'll say it was. That and the fact that I was tired and I hadn't eaten anything edible that whole day. Okay, so that's my excuses, and you will get the lens. And what else has been donated? Microscope objectives are now being turned in. And, you know, if you've got a lens that's sitting around that you don't have a use for, but you think one of our contestants might be able to use, donate it. I think you can write it off on your taxes. Probably not, but, you know, maybe. And, yeah, that would be fantastic. So we've got a batch of lenses that Bud donated, microscope objectives. They're the nice Amscope ones, the ones I recommend. So that's going to be coming up soon in one of the competitions. Okay, I am going on a bit, aren't I? David, good evening from Edmonton. And Angie, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Shouldn't you be getting some sleep? Probably you should. Carlos, welcome. Hey, hey, hey. Glad you made it. We were just talking about things that affect you, or no, things that you affect. We were talking about websites. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. It's good to have you. And macro everything around me. What's going on, my friend? I saw that you had framed the pictures that I gave you, that you won from me. Well done. They look great. Fantastic. I'm so thrilled that you did that. Yeah, excellent. Okay. Paul says it is sunny again in California. That will not last. I can guarantee it won't last, but enjoy it while it's there. So Alistair and Angie are now having a chit-chat because they're the only 2 people on the British island to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning listening to the radio or whatever I'm on, the computer. There you go. All right, so let me see. Gochi, even the Wi-Fi signal was not so good. We were able to hear great guitar sound at the recording session. Yes, the musicians are fantastic. One of them is my brother, so that notwithstanding, the rest of the band are all great. They're called the Bludgers. They're based in kind of in Champaign, Urbana, which is in Illinois, near the university. I think that's where they all met. But they live in New Zealand and Australia and Boston and California. So they're the best friends you could possibly have, because you never have to be around them except once every year or two to make an album. And that's a bit hairy, but the rest of it's good. I thought maybe what I'd do was show you, talking about the music, just a little bit of what I did this last week. Now, it was not the easiest circumstances to work under, but it was great fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and the band, I think, had a good time, as you would making an album. And this that I am going to hopefully be able to show you is the little bit of material that I put together this afternoon. I only had precious few minutes to do it, so bear with me while I resize the screen so you can see it. And yeah, this is it. This is the Bludgers, my brother's band. Yay! I told you it was pretty terrible. That was actually not the song that they were playing, and it just occurred to me as I was playing it that I'm probably going to get all kinds of copyright strikes for that. There's no telling. Even though I had permission to use it, that it tends to upset the computers when you use music in videos. Anyway. That's the Bludgers, my brother and the other four guys, and I just want to give a quick word of thanks to Alex Allanson, who is the owner of the bridge, who made it possible for us to do all of this. He gave me free run of the place to do all my photography and also do the live stream. So that was very, very fine. I also want to thank Bud. Bud Parrott donated the camera that I did most of the shooting with. I couldn't have done it without it. It's just the best little gadget. It's the Osmo Pocket 2 that is perfect for this type of impromptu video thing. So anyway, I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. They had a good time, and when the album comes out, I'll let you know about it. But the song I was playing was from their last album, which I did the cover art for. So yeah, it was good. So that's what we were doing. That was the good guitar music you heard. So there you have it. Let me see. So David is welcoming Claudio, as am I. It's good to have you on board, my friend. You need to join Discord, because Discord is where everything happens. That's where all the cool people hang out, and they'll be able to help you. I'm going to turn something off up there. There we go. Good. It was catching my peripheral vision. So the insects are coming out where Jeff Martin is. Jeff, remind me, where are you? I know that because I just said hi to you. You are in Idaho. I thought you had potatoes more than insects, but you have insects as well. Fantastic. Oh my goodness, Patrick just gave me 20 Canadian, Chinese, no, Swiss francs, CHFs, congestive heart failures. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you. It all helps. That's very generous. I do appreciate it. Robert, I see you're lurking this evening. You're there, but you keep removing your messages. I'm glad you're here. And Jan, welcome. I need to get in touch with you, and I'm glad that this reminded me of that. It has really been crazy these last few days since coming back to town. So if you're waiting for me to get back to you on something, anybody, I'm working on it. I want to tell you about something. This is not to do with photography, but it's only brief. Well, the first thing wasn't really either, was it? More music. But this is something I want to tell you about if you are a woodworker or you work with blades of any kind. If you ever need to sharpen anything. I ordered something based on word of mouth recommendation. You know what? It doesn't look like there are any viewers tonight. I wonder if there's something funky going on with the... No. It says there are 39 viewers, visitors out there, but my graph doesn't show that. It shows there's 8 people out there. Oh well, I'll worry about that later. Anyway, before I left, in fact, about 3 weeks ago, I ordered a material called diamond paste. It is a paste of clay and diamonds in water. And I ordered it from a company in Ukraine because of a review that I read. I sharpen things a lot because I do a lot of woodworking, and I use heavy, dense woods, and my blades constantly get dulled. And I like to hand sharpen everything myself. So I normally use expensive Japanese water stones, primarily what I use, but I thought this might be handy for some of the stuff I do out in the shop where I don't have a sharpening station in the house, but when I'm out there, I like to be able to sharpen things on the fly when I'm using a plane or something. Take the blade out, sharpen it. I thought, if this diamond paste is any good, I might use it. So I ordered some. I ordered a 40-gram jar of very fine, this is like the super fine paste. This paste has diamonds in it that are only 1/4 of a micron across. That's tiny, and it has 4 carats of diamonds in there, which is quite a lot of diamond dust. And I got the stuff and was absolutely blown away by it. What you do is you just spread it out on a leather strop. I use a piece of, I make my own strops. It's a piece of board with a piece of leather contact cemented to it. And then I rub a very thin layer of this paste over the thing and let it dry for a day. And it soaks into the leather and leaves behind a very thin, very, very thin coating of dust. This that's been scraped off the top was what it took to cover a big strop. And the result is about what I would expect to see. I can't do this backwards. It's about what I would expect to see from the most expensive water stone, most expertly used as well. I mean, this was very easy to do. Never seen anything quite this sharp from just stropping. I didn't sharpen it first. I just did it on the piece of leather. So that's amazing. And I wanted to tell you about this guy because not only did he send me this, but he sent me a full letter, which I have put away for safekeeping and can't find. But it was a full page, handwritten letter from the owner of the company. His name's Michael Lugg. I think Lugg might be a shortened version of his name because there was a longer name on there as well. And also in the package was a delightful little bracelet that his wife made. And these are the colors of the Ukraine, the national flag. And since that time, we communicated, and I can't conceive of what it must be like to run a business, a family business, in a country that is at war. And yeah, it's just terrifying to me that anybody would have to do that. So I want you to support him. If you need sharpening material, anything, they have quite an impressive selection of everything to do with diamonds, basically, that you would use for sharpening. The name of the site is diamondtool.com.ua, and I'll put it in the show description. And this gigantic tub, this is probably a lifetime supply for me, was $13, which is very inexpensive. So I would love to see some people support this guy because yeah, he's doing great work. You should read his reviews on his website. Everybody loves the service and the product. I told him that I would do this because I can and I wanted to. So yeah, if you find yourself in need of diamond paste, then give him a holler. While I'm in the process of saying thank you to people, I want to say thank you to somebody who's become an old friend now. His name's Robbie Keane. He lives north of the outback. I mean, not the outback. What do you call the tundra up there in Canada? He lives so far away in Canada that it's permanently frozen, I think. And he sent me some insects, which was really, really nice of him, because I imagine the insects are only out for about an hour a year in this part of Canada, which is called Nanoose Bay. I hope I didn't just blow anything by saying that. Maybe nobody knows that's where you are, but they do now. Some of them do. But this place has insects that made me think about moving to Nanoose Bay until I looked at it on the map. They were great insects, but not that great. So he sent me 2 bottles, and they were in an envelope, padded. These are the bottles, the actual bottles that he sent me. They each hold about, I don't know, 15 milliliters maybe. They're full of insects, but they were full of insects when I got them. It took me 2 hours to pick out every insect with a pair of tweezers in such a way that didn't rip its legs off or its head off. I'm going to show you some pictures here, but now I can't remember what I called them. what I called the folder that I put them in. This is crazy. I put them somewhere special so that I'd have them to show you, and now I can't remember where I put them. I'll find it while I'm talking. But the selection was absolutely superb. It contained some of my all-time favorite insects. Like, as I was pulling these things out, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. A bee fly, you know what? I've got to show you some of these pictures. That's all there is to it. So I'm going to share my screen again because I can. And yeah, that's all there is to it. Let me find where I put these things. Just chat amongst yourselves. I think I've started a collection for them. That's what it is. Okay, so here are some of the bugs that my friend sent me from Canada. And hang on, I didn't press the right button. That's not one of them, so don't worry. I'm just going to show you the final products, because this is going to also play into what we're talking about tonight, is the reason I'm showing you this. That is, of course, a tiger beetle. And he sent me 6 tiger beetles, all mixed in with the other things. But these beetles are unlike any I've encountered before. They were and are perfect. I don't know if you can see that, but it has all of its appendages. I think it's missing the terminal apparatus on one claw. There was also a fly. This is the bee fly, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And there was a bee, an Agapostemon sweat bee, that was only about 3 millimeters long. There were actually 6 of them in here. And yeah, these pictures came out so well, because these were beautifully, carefully stored and shipped to me in good padding and everything. There's the other one I was going to show you. So that's what Robbie sent me. There's the last picture. I'll show you that one at full screen too. Just stunning. Now, it also happened to be that when Robbie sent me these, I was in the middle of doing some things differently in the studio. I've changed a few things. And all of these pictures, and believe it or not, there are 3 portfolio pictures came out of one day's shooting this week, which is unheard of. If I can get 1 portfolio picture out of 3 months of shooting, I'm happy. But this picture right here is in my portfolio now, because it's just about perfect the way I like to see them. But it involves doing something that I never thought I would do. But before I get to that, I'm going to show you a few of the other things that were in there, because I think they are very, very cool. Found them. Nope, that's not them. Sorry, I misled you. Okay, can't find them, so forget about it. I was just going to show you some iPhone pictures. Oh, that's a good idea. I can just do it. Hang on a sec. So professional. So yeah, there they are. Okay, we'll do it this way. It's a little different, but I'll just show you the innards of my phone, and we'll do it that way. So this is what I actually ended up getting. What a velvet ant, which is not an ant but a wasp, a cockroach killer, some big kind of hornety looking thing here. Don't know what that was. Giant ichneumons, hoverflies, click beetles, little golden and green beetles. These things are like just gorgeous. And I've got pictures of all of them. There's my tigers all laid out. So it was just the most amazing little bottles of bugs. And I haven't even started to go through the little ones. I just pulled out the big ones. And this is what let me show you what I have still to photograph out of Robbie's thingamajig. all of those have been photographed once. And then I've got beetles, wasps, ants, and hornets, and bees, flies of every variety, and lots of the small ones are flies too. These are the medium-sized things that contain crane flies and things like that. These are all medium-sized, and then the small ones are in that. And there's about, I don't know how many. There were over 400 insects in those 2 bottles. So, is that enough? Excessive fawning? Probably not, because I was so grateful. These are fantastic. So thank you, Robbie. Thank you, thank you. If you live in Canada, man, you ought to be out there catching some of these bugs. They are awesome. I wish we had some of this stuff down here. So let me see. What did I have on the list? I haven't even got to the list yet. I'll get back to my messages in just a second. I told you I was going to tell you what I did differently, and this is the important part because it's the photographic part. Sit down and brace yourselves, because this is a real departure for me. I shot all of these pictures using the automatic focus bracketing setting on my D850. I shot with a Tamron 90mm macro lens, which for the smaller insects, I extended about 30 millimeters. And I shot these with flash using 4 MF12s as pretty much as fast as the focus bracketing would allow me to shoot, which is pretty fast. Click, 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 and the flash did not seem to object to being used that heavily. I had a little bit of trouble figuring out exactly what the numbers mean. I think that there is a logarithmic relationship between the number that you pick to set the step length and the actual step length that is entirely to do with magnification and the lens that you're using, because the camera has that information, of course, so it knows what lens you have on. It has a good idea how big your subject is, and it can set a step length. So what you're doing is adjusting the nominal step length, or the average, which would probably fall right in the middle of that 1 to 10 range. Because when I put it on 1, the entire 60 shots or 120 shots, however many shots I put in, wouldn't cover the first appendage. But when I was using it about 6, was the setting I settled on for most of the pictures, I got sharp pictures with no focus banding in as few as 20 or 30 frames. Some as many as 120 frames for the bigger insects. And some of them were not successful. I didn't get the whole thing in focus. But when I compared the pictures to a standard set of macro pictures that would be taken with either a reversed lens or a microscope objective, there was no real comparison. It was like most of the pictures that I took were as good as my best pictures with complicated put together lens systems. I know this is unfair because I'm not comparing apples to apples. I'm not even comparing apples to hamburgers. It's a very different thing, and I've got a lot of work to do to figure it out. But you know, I've been a little dismissive of the whole concept of using any kind of in-camera automation for doing focus stacking. It seems wrong in some way, or it seemed wrong until I tried it. Now, the reason I tried it was I'm trying to put together a folder of photographs for a specific purpose, and it would have taken me a very, very long time to do them the standard way using a rail. And some of these insects were not much larger than the entrance pupil of my lens, even on extension. But the end result was that these pictures have more warmth in them, more tone, and they are sharp, and the colors are brighter. It's amazing. And I am in the process of becoming a convert. The D850 doesn't do in-camera processing. It doesn't do focus stacking. It just does focus bracketing, which I'm going to be very careful about what I say about that, because I don't want to have to come back and say I was wrong about that as well. I've never actually used, though I have had my hands on the camera that is well known for doing the in-camera stacking, which is an Olympus camera. It's one of their micro four thirds devices that actually not only does the bracketing but stacks the images. I'm not sure I would want to give up the control I have over the image quality by letting the camera do that. I don't know what exactly you can adjust, but all of these pictures were run through Xerine, of course, and some of them went to Photoshop for some touching up. But I'm in the process now of putting together a video about this, how I am doing it, and I'll show you what I'm doing and the steps I go through to set the length and everything. If anybody has any questions tonight, now would be a great time to ask, because I have really been doing a lot of photography while I'm doing everything else. I've been trying to photograph the most interesting of these bugs right away, and I am just being surprised and shocked almost every shot that I take. It's a different set of calculations you have to do. The lighting has to be done more carefully even. You need lots and lots and lots of diffusion. I found that fewer brighter lights didn't work. So anyway, yeah, it's a new thing for me, and I'm excited about it. I really am. I've shown these pictures to a couple of friends, one of whom is not well known in the photographic community for praise. Not well known at all. You'll never guess who that is, but that individual looked at one of the photographs and said that he thought it was, I think it was spectacular or splendid or something like that. A word you wouldn't normally associate with a picture shown there. Anyhow, so I'm excited. It might be the start of something great. There's something else I'm excited about, and jumping from traditional macro technique to something entirely different. I have hinted to you that I was being considered to test a set of devices from a company that is well known to you. And I learned today that they are en route to my laboratory in the volcano. So yeah, I am going to be getting these mystery devices and testing them, and will be one of the first people to tell you about them. In fact, it's my intention to be the first person that tells you about them. And if they are anything like what I'm being told, it is going to turn the whole macro photography world on its ear. That's saying a lot, isn't it? One rather has to doubt statements like that, but I know nothing until I see this. So yeah, it's going to be soon, and I'll probably be a bit more liberal with my hints as I start to do the testing. But I'm excited. It's going to be good. Let me see. I've been ignoring comments, and it's time for me to unignore comments. You want to see that beetle one more time? Say you do. You know you do. It's such a gorgeous beetle. Look at the colors on its back. No, you can't, because I'm not pressing the right button. Look at the colors on its back now. Oh no, that's even worse. Anyway, enough of that. Let me get back to what I was doing, which was catching up with the questions and messages. What was the very first question that I was asked? All I wrote was insect eyes. How do you light them so that you can see the individual ocelli? I think that was the question. Let me triple check that. It's all the way at the top. How would you light the eyes of a relatively large insect to emphasize or highlight the omatidea? I would light them laterally from each side, but I would use probably a hair light if the eye is large and it extends over the brow. If it makes up the top of the head, I'd put a light actually in front of the insect, shooting over its back from the side to act as a rim light. And then I would actually put both of my lights on the eyes. I think that's the only way to do it. But you want to get the angle as low as you can so that the light is skimming across the surface of the eye. You want to see the individual hillocks of the lenses. Now, remember that not all insects have lumpy compound eyes. Some of them have something akin to a cornea over the top that is fairly smooth, and the only way you can really appreciate the pattern is to shoot them straight on and use light that's more directed. But if you tell me what the insect is, I'll be able to tell you more. And a lot of insects, of course, have hairy eyeballs, which rather complicate matters, and they don't look as good lit from the side. So tell me what kind of bug you've got. Whatever it is, I'm assuming it's dead. Get out your Decon 90 and give it a good rinse. If there's any post-mortem change. You'll notice in the tiger beetle that I showed you earlier, the first picture, the eyes were perfect. They're silvery. That's the way they are in life. And these were just like a live tiger beetle. Then the second set of pictures were taken the next day where they had the brown discoloration. But that you so commonly see that I think most people think that's the normal color of the eyes. It's not. The patchy brown is where the inner elements of the eye have separated from the outer covering and pulled away just a little bit. I still think they're beautiful and you can still see the surface structure, but that's what I did with these. I dropped the lights down low to the side, in fact a little bit below the level of the subject, and shot right across both lights into each other. And that really did a good job of showing off the eyes. Okay, so that's enough of that. Did I skip any other questions? No, I don't think I did. So I'm going to kind of catch up on what's been going on in the chatty area. A lot of messages tonight. That's wonderful. All right, you know what? Bear with me. I am going to have some water. This live thing, makes my mouth get dry. I wonder if it's all the hot air that passes through it. And then drinking water makes my moustache wet. Okay, now I feel better. So where was I? I had just thanked Patrick for the Swiss francs once again, and Bruce and Malcolm are I don't know what they're talking about. Something about not eating meat that expired in 2008. Yeah, I think that's a good idea for you not to eat that. But I don't know what you're talking about. And then a question from Chris to Allan. When you use your 10x Nikon and the Raynox, do you also see a ring from the lens elements reflecting on the shiny tube of the Raynox? No. I don't. I mean, how are you setting it up, I guess is the question. And where are you seeing this ring? A ring reflecting on the shiny tube of the Raynox. No, I have never experienced anything of that type. I have a very clear view using the Raynox as a tube lens, generally using it reversed at about 208 millimeters and putting the 10x objective very close to the Raynox. Yeah, I haven't had that problem. Is it possible? Is it possible that maybe you got a phase contrast objective instead of the? Are you talking about the Nikon? Oh, what am I thinking? Forgotten the name. CFI, the CFI plan achromat. If that's the lens that you have, there shouldn't be anything in there. I wonder if something has come loose. Are the pictures sharp? Are you getting good images? And a huge image circle? Yeah, I don't know what that is. I will think about it. Get in touch with me. Let's discuss that. All right. So it's reunion time for Curly Toes and Chris. That's wonderful. It's good to see. I've just lost where I was. Permafrost, that's what it is. Permafrost. Is there permafrost up there in Nanoose Bay? I don't know where these insects must have come from then. Maybe they were on holiday. That's a rude awakening for the poor buggers, isn't it? All right, so let me see. Gustavo's here from Texas. I drove by a restaurant in Boston called Gustavo's, and I thought, that couldn't possibly be Gustavo's, could it? And then I remembered, no, there's probably some other people called that as well. One of them has a restaurant in Boston. I can now say I've been to Harvard, by the way. I just walked past it, but I've been to Harvard. Where did you go? It's quite a boring place, actually. It's just a lot of buildings with kids going in and out of them. Nothing really to tip you off to it being a very special place. Bud is asking you to consider giving me a thumbs up because it helps my channel. I think it does. I don't know how, but I think it does. So thank you, Bud. And I appreciate it. Normally, that is something that is said as we're running out of time. It appears we're running out of time already. What else is on the list? This month's calendar. Whoever noticed, Bud, I think it was, that I had not done this month's calendar, yes, I'm guilty. That's been the problem with the calendar all along, is I don't have time to do it. If I do the calendar, I won't have time to do the things on the calendar. That sounds melodramatic, but it's just the way it is. I don't have quite enough time to do it all. But I will be doing the calendar this evening and including it in my notifications that I'm going to put on Patreon and over on Discord, the announcements. There's nothing really, for the first time in a long time, there's nothing spectacular coming up anytime soon. Nothing that I can think of except good old-fashioned videos. I'm making some videos because I now have a little bit of time to make some. But of course there's the new website that's coming along too, and that's going to throw a spanner in the works, so to speak. I'm rambling. Let me get back to work here. Yeah, the people are saying they like the band. That's fantastic. Good. I'm glad. Yes, I do too. Yeah, you should check them out. Oh yeah, it's yeah. You can't get people to. It's like herding cats, they say, but it's true. Musicians, well, anybody that's working, they aren't paying attention to me, except every now and again when I'd get in their way and they'd tell me to get out of the way. Otherwise, they wouldn't notice me, which is fine. But anyway, I'm glad you liked it. Good. That was good. And Laura, you better have loved it. You shot half of it. Larry, welcome. Glad you made it. And let me see, Andrew. Yeah, finally, some bugs. Your bugs are coming out up there? I hope so. It's going to be a good year for bugs, I feel sure. Robert, okay, you had to get a glass of Merlot. I understand. Some things take priority. What's Merlot? I need to remember to do something about putting in the show notes that I had permission to use that music, because I'm sure I just have a bad feeling about it. Anyway, neither here nor there. So they're killing you at work. Well, that's what work's all about. That's why they call it that. They'd have called it fun otherwise, I think. All right, let me see. A Proud Liberals here. Welcome. I see videos on reversing a 50mm lens to achieve macro magnification. What about reversing a true macro lens? Is that a feasible option to try? Not really. Not really. The reason a reversed prime lens becomes a macro lens, think about what the lens does. Let me grab one. I almost fell over. I have a very sore knee after being crammed into that aeroplane seat. This is a radioactive, as it happens, 50mm lens. So if you think about it, the sensor is back here, or the film is back here, and you have a very short distance between the lens and the sensor, and you're photographing ocean liners and forests out in the distance. And the idea is you want to take what's big out there and make it small on your sensor. And in macro, all we're doing is switching that relationship around so that we can get very, very close to our very small subjects and have them appear large on the sensor. And that's all we mean. And if doing this doesn't give you enough magnification, then you add space. You add space between the old front of the lens and the sensor. So the idea is that as you extend a reversed lens, you get more magnification. Now, a macro lens is already designed to do that in the forward orientation. So it doesn't actually turn into a normal prime lens when you flip it around, but that's the idea. So it isn't going to give you any of the same advantages, and it's also not going to give you the performance of the lens in its normal orientation. That is a problem when you reverse a lens, that lenses are designed and built to deal with aberrations, for example, in their normal orientation, the way they're supposed to be used. When you start flipping them around backwards and using odd distances and extension from the camera, you run the risk of allowing aberrations to return to the images. So you've got to be careful with that, and you tend to get that if you flip around a macro lens, but without getting any magnification, so there's no point. If you want to use something with a macro lens, you can stick a diopter on it. You can even extend it a little bit, and something else that you can do is stack lenses. You can put a microscope objective on a macro lens if you have one of the right focal length for the magnification that you want to get. So no is the short. You want the short version? Oh, you just wanted an answer. No, that was the answer. Sorry about that. I gave too long an answer. So where was I? Great band, nice sound. I agree. Thank you. And let me see. Somehow these chat things. Oh, I may have got it on the wrong kind of chat. I've got it on the all chat. That's okay. So Robert, you were a woodworker for 15 years. Do you still do any woodworking or carving or anything that needs a blade? If you do, get some of that paste. It's amazing. It is amazing how sharp that thing gets stuff. By the way, is that a feasible option to try is a question that yes, I'm never going to say no to. Is it feasible to try? Yes, everything is feasible to try. If people hadn't tried stuff, we wouldn't have any of the crazy ideas and wild stuff we do in macro now. So yes, try it by all means. Just be very critical of the results and look at them very carefully. And I think you'll see that it doesn't have any advantage. You're much better off with a short focal length prime lens, a decent one, anywhere from 28 to 50 millimeters. Anything over 50 millimeters, by the way, I should have mentioned this as well. There's really no advantage to reversing it, and your magnification on extension is minimal. So it's really, this is for short primes. Okay, there we go. Now I feel better having said something to do with photography tonight, which is good. Amy made it. Amy, welcome. Glad you're here. And Baconmeister, I don't know if he's here or not, but somebody's asking if he's doing better because he had some health problems with his blood. I hope you're okay there, Baconmeister. Let us know. I wonder what macros of that diamond stuff would look like. Oh my God, can you believe I haven't even tried that? You want to see what it looks like right now under the microscope? Oh, I think, hang on, let me see if I can get a picture. I couldn't get a picture trying right as I was setting up. But if I can, we'll take a look. Yeah, I can. Let me turn some light on. Who thought that up? Whose idea was that? That was macro everything, wasn't it? Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Okay, I'm going to add an extra light because... Should I smear some onto a slide? I don't think I have one. Let's just look at it under the... Who said we weren't technically capable here? It just looks like goop, doesn't it? Yeah. That's putting me off my dinner. It looks a little bit like, well, yeah. I don't see any diamonds, but I know they're in there because you can feel them. Yeah, leave me a note. Tell me, tell me how you want me to prepare this so you can see the diamonds. I'll see if they show up rubbed into my skin. No. No, that was a bust, wasn't it? Doesn't even have an odor or a taste. Okay, but when you dry it on the leather strop, I brought the strop in and I don't know what I did with it. You can feel the diamonds catch. You can feel the abrasive nature of the dried paste. It makes a raspy feeling, but it's very subtle. Anyway, where was I? Have I missed anybody? Have I missed any questions? Baconmeister's here, and you're feeling better. Nope, still in the hospital, but a little better. Good. Better of any kind is good. Nanoose Bay in the tundra, far from it, just a wee bit north of Seattle. Well, anything north of Seattle is in the tundra, surely. That's why it's in Canada. Otherwise, America would have it. I think you're probably wrong, Al. Though you do live there, so I'll give you that. It sounds very far north, though, doesn't it? Nanoose Bay. It sounds like something you'd say to the helicopter pilot on your way up there. You know, if I don't come back, I'll be at Nanoose Bay. Anyhow, I have a feeling I've missed some questions. Let me move fast here. So David Brown is here. Greetings, my friend. How are you? And David wanted me to smuggle back an optical table from Boston. He found on Craigslist. It weighed 1,000 pounds, and they wouldn't let me take it on the plane. I called and asked them. I said, I have a ticket my brother bought me, and I don't have any bags. That was a lie. I have 2 bags full of cameras. And I asked if I could just bring on a little table for photography. And they said, no, 1,000 pounds, too heavy. Plane can't take off with it. So it's still up there. Somebody's going to get it. It's a beauty. It's ginormous. This morning I did some research on how much it would cost to get it shipped here from door to door. Yeah, about twice what the table costs. Anyway, macro photography of tiger beetles in the field is a lot of fun, but requires lots of stealth. You know what? Until last year, the only tiger beetles I've ever photographed were in the wild, and they are difficult to photograph because they are fast. Those things run like, yeah, they're fast. I have never actually harvested a tiger beetle because they're rare around here. I hardly ever see them. I've never caught one. I've never tried to catch one. I wouldn't keep one if I did catch one. I see them so seldom, but apparently they're all over the place up in Nanu's Bay in the tundra. So there you go, but your point is well taken. Mike's here from Phoenix, welcome. And everybody's wishing Baconmeister well, which is good. Using in-camera focus stacking, does that make you an iconoclast? Well, I guess it could. I mean, I pride myself in being open-minded enough to try new things, but I usually do so knowing that I'm right. But every now and again it turns out that I wasn't right, and I wasn't right here. I mean, I may turn up things about it that I don't like, but yeah, I'm blown away by how effective it is. It's not like I haven't used it. I've used the in-camera bracketing, focus bracketing for landscapes. I've used it a lot in product photography. I've just never used it in what I would call serious macro, and it's time I reconsidered that. That's all I'm saying. Let me see. Now, Bruce is talking about the bees returning. Did you have the virus there, the bee virus, or the mites? What was it? Tell me. I didn't realize that you had that. That was like you had myxomatosis when you were a little boy too, right? Didn't you? The whole of Australia lost all its rabbits. I think that's what it was. Myxomatosis? Yeah, I don't know where I read that. David. Yeah, Canon's having a sale and you're going to pick up an R7. Yes. Now, that was something that was on my list to research before this evening, was I wanted to get a complete list of all of the current camera bodies that actually focus bracket and all of the ones that actually stack in camera. And I do not have that information yet. I'll do some research on it before Thursday. But I'm pretty sure that some of the big flagship cameras that the big boys are putting out now have that option. Honestly, I can't see how that could possibly work, because if you can't control the inputs, I'm not sure how you can focus stack, but I've been wrong before, so we'll see. Yeah, but that's going to be great. Good luck on the R7 getting any cheaper. I don't see that happening. Yes, Rick Seabell. How did you guess? Here we go. Angie's used the Z6 for focus bracketing for a year, then moved to the Sony A7 Mark III with the Wii Macro, and this gives far better results. Yes, do either of those cameras actually focus stack, or is it just the bracketing? I know that they both have the bracketing. Patrick, experimenting with adapting the 50mm EL Nikkor on different 200 and 300mm lenses. Yeah, I have been experimenting with that as well, and I've had some really good results using it with a little bit of extension and the Raynox as kind of like a relay lens. You should try that as well. Let me know what you find. Larry uses that technique on the Z camera. It was hard to get everything set at first. Yes, it is, and it takes a different set of thoughts to get it done. But once you get it going, it works well. And you know, I'm going to give it much more consideration, and I'm going to find out where its limits are. But the reason I brought it up tonight was I'm excited about it, and I think it has promise. I think that it can be used. Let me get more time with it and see where the hard limits are. All right, so Chris, you have to. I don't know what you mean by that. Fuji camera is a bit easier. You simply choose the start of the focus stacking point and the end point. The camera does all the calculations. Right. Which is essentially what this is doing in a kind of backwards way, because you can do that just by measuring the bug. I was too lazy to get my little ruler. I've got an engineer's ruler that you can actually measure the pretty much exactly, not a ruler, what do you call it, caliper. So I can do the measurement and I can guess how many, in fact, what I could probably do is make a table of the actual step lengths in microns for different magnifications. You know, that would be a fun project. I might do that. And yeah, if I do, I'll make a table and then I'll share it with you guys, if you're nice to me. Which you always are, so there's no danger of that. Is it after 9? It's 5 minutes after 9. That means I've been going 70 minutes without catching my breath. So let me see. I think that I think you're right. Being able to set the start and finish point's the best, because you do, until you get comfortable with it, you are kind of guessing whether or not you've got enough pictures. I would just look at the bug and think, ooh, that's a fairly big bug. I'm going to do 120 or 140 instead of 60. And most of the time, I didn't have many over, and I got everything covered. But not always. Some of the pictures were spoiled. So let me see. To increase magnification and use in-camera bracketing. Right. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Alistair's telling Angie that he has the Z6 Mark II, frustrated by the focus bracketing menu, hiding the screen view and only being able to start the sequence from the screen or OK button. Yeah, I don't like that either, but you know, it's one of those things when the camera is on. I still have it on the rail, so it's right there in the usual place, and it says it's actually less buttons to press than starting the stack shot, so that I'm not too bothered by it. But yeah, you have to go into the menu. You have to, you know, have you tried assigning another button? You can do that in the 850. Go in and assign a custom button. You could probably assign the shutter release to start the sequence, I bet. I don't like the fact that it turns off after every use. Turns off the program. Anyway. Whew. I'm tired. That's what we Southerners say when we get tired. The Lumix G85 does focus bracketing, and then you have the option to stack in camera. Do you really? And have you tried it? That's another Micro Four Thirds camera, isn't it? Have you used it? Do you use it on a regular basis, I wonder? Because you take some really nice pictures. I'd be very interested to hear if you do. And Chris should add, the Fuji only does bracketing, not stacking, right? Yeah, I think most of them do. All right, Art is wishing Baconmeister a speedy and full recovery. I am too, and I'm going to say that on behalf of the entire staff at Allan Wall's Photography. We all wish Baconmeister a speedy recovery, don't we, guys? Yep, they're all nodding. Yep, everybody's on board with that. So I'm going to go so I can eat some dinner and then do some more work until 3 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, if you can make it on Thursday, please do. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, live stream, Macro Talk 2. I almost forgot the name of my own thing. And on Saturday, if you're a Patreoner, join me at 2 o'clock, 2 hours of hilarity and who knows, photography maybe. I will see you all later. Take care and be well. And give me a thumbs up on the way out if you don't mind. Thank you. Good night.